solutions to save our students.
It's time to go to work. Go to work to make sure that this will be a catalyst.
State leaders vow to make schools safer after a deadly shooting. We take an in-depth look at the plan they're putting in place.
It's not unusual for a child in play to say, I'm going to kill you.
How Texas school districts will soon start assessing kids for threats and hopefully avoiding tragedy.
The bigger the devil, the higher the level I need to go.
And with mental health resources still scarce in many schools, could telemedicine help fill the gap?
Really, the goal is to take what we talked about here and then for him to go back out into the classroom and apply it.
Plus, we travel to the West Coast to see how mental health consultants are helping teachers navigate challenging students. Could it work here? It's all part of this special edition of State of Texas. Hello, I'm Josh Hinkle. State leaders dedicated millions of dollars to new security structures, planning, and training after last year's deadly Santa Fe school shooting. But mental health was also a major component in that plan, with a focus like never before that will change your child's campus starting this school year. Political reporter Phil Prazen takes a closer look at the reform now underway and what it took to happen.
State lawmakers were trying something new. They searched for the line between protecting child privacy and knowing when violent thoughts could turn into violent acts. It was a touchy issue for some with privacy concerns, like these parents who spoke at the Capitol.
As a mom, I will not stand by quietly.
Amen.
And while elected officials on both sides of the aisle work to destroy my state and my nation, and especially my children, I will not be quiet.
But the political will to do something after students and teachers were killed at Santa Fe succeeded in working through those concerns. The state will soon play an active role in student mental health. Texas has a long history of shortages in counselors and social workers, in psychiatrists, and in 2018, voters sent lawmakers to Austin to fix the mental health crisis that kept bubbling violently into view. Governor Greg Abbott named student mental health, along with school safety, an emergency item. Republican Senator Jane Nelson from Flower Mound, Texas, would make the cause hers.
There was a clamor for hardening our schools, putting metal detectors, and that's fine, but that doesn't address the root problem, and that is there are some children who need to be identified and helped as potential serious risks to themselves and others.
She had to find a way to provide more mental health services to the sprawling state of Texas, where communities can be geographically, culturally, and economically diverse. She decided to lean on a health infrastructure that already existed, pumping $100 million through the 13 health-related universities of higher education. They'd form the backbone to the Child Mental Health Care Consortium. Each university would partner with state agencies and nonprofits to provide child psychiatry centers local mental health professionals, school districts could tap into. To address that issue of privacy, none of this could be used without permission from a student's family.
So I want to clarify that no student health data would be compromised under this bill. That is correct. And I don't think anybody on this floor is more protective of our privacy than I am.
The idea passed unanimously in the Senate, but needed fast action from House leaders to overcome a conservative Republican who found a procedural mishap that nearly scuttled the entire plan in the House. There, House Speaker Dennis Bonnen and his allies attached the consortium to the school safety reform bill that already passed, and the entire package was approved, and soon Governor Abbott signed it into law. Nelson sat to his right.
I heard from so many teachers and parents and pediatricians that they just didn't know where to go. They needed more than what was available to them.
In Central Texas, the regional hub will be the Dell Medical School at the University of Texas at Austin, where they plan to house counseling and mental health professionals students can use. Also, they hope to set up a wide array of telemedicine services so communities on the outskirts of Central Texas can use those services over internet video.
Which is one of the areas we'll be exploring later. Phil, thank you.
If I have a child come to me today and say that they're suicidal or they're, I mean, it's me right then. I'm not letting that child out of my sight. I'm making phone calls. I'm trying to get, Twitter project here.
How a growing project out of a Texas university is bringing telemedicine to some school districts with limited mental health resources. Save Our Students, a State of Texas special edition coming up. Pinpointing students with mental health issues can be more challenging in smaller, more rural school districts because they don't have a large counseling staff. Our Aaron Cargile traveled 6 hours northwest of Austin to the small town of Rawls, Texas, near Lubbock, where a school is tapping into telemedicine to connect students with a team of mental health doctors.
We're looking at a current temperature, mostly cloudy, 52 degrees with the wind chill, looking at about 48 degrees. Winds are mostly out of the south, about 14 miles an hour.
Good morning.
For teenagers living in a town with a population under 2,000, it's not easy to fly under the radar.
Hurry, hurry!
Each morning, Rawls High School Principal Miguel Salazar
Come on, Irod.
greets all 130 students by name.
When they're coming in, I can almost sense that they're having a bad day, and a lot of it can just be the look on their face, how they're carrying themselves.
Getting in tune with each teenager is a team effort. Teachers are looking and listening for signs, and when something seems off,
Mental health is just something you don't mess around with.
Mrs. Baum steps in. Shay Baum is the lone school counselor for the entire district, splitting her time between 3 campuses to serve more than 500 students in grades pre-K through 12. She recalls a time 3 years ago when 2 high school girls going through a traumatic experience needed more than she could give.
I was just hoping and praying that somebody, because I knew that this was very, very serious, and it would definitely involve some doctors to get them the help that they needed, and I knew that I did not have the skills to help those girls through those things.
Baum referred them to the Twitter project, which stands for Telemedicine Wellness, Intervention, Triage, and Referral. It's essentially a team of mental health professionals from Texas Tech University who step in to help middle and high school students at risk of hurting themselves or others at school. The team meets with students and their parents on campus, screens them, and then sets up telemedicine appointments with a psychiatrist where they talk face-to-face through a computer.
It's just been a godsend for my students. And not only is it just a counselor, but it is a team of doctors that's discussing your child, discussing what their behaviors are, and the parents get to put their input in too. Not only what's happening at school, but what are you seeing at home? What are their behaviors at home? Because a lot of times those are 2 different things.
Baum referred her first student to the program in the fall of 2014. And since then, the Twitter project, which is funded mostly with state grants and free to the district, has helped about 20 Rawls middle and high school students. The program's success is measured by looking at a before and after of a student's grades, skipping school, and how often they're getting in trouble. In Rawls,
Their attendance comes up. Their discipline goes down.
the principal says the transformation is obvious.
Before Twitter project, they were a wreck. They were not able to function. They were not able to wake themselves up in the morning and get motivated to come to school, much less do anything when they were at school. And so seeing that and Twitter project getting involved with their lives and seeing how they can function and they can walk the halls, and they still have bad days, but it seems they have more good days than they do bad days, and that's just great to see, because without the Twitter project having been involved, we're at ground zero.
Now, Rawls says there is a downside to the program. Some parents have trouble following through if Twitter recommends their child continue long-term appointments. Josh, parents are then in charge of driving their child to a doctor in Lubbock. That's a bit of a trip, and they're also in charge of paying for care from that point forward.
But before that, the state is paying.
That's right. This last legislative session, Texas lawmakers poured an extra $5 million into expanding the project. That move came after Governor Greg Abbott touted the program in the wake of the Santa Fe High School shooting. That's the video you see here on the screen. Right now, Twitter has contracts to work with 24 school districts in West Texas, also Amarillo, and there's more to come.
All right, thank you, Aaron. It all actually started in 2012 after the Sandy Hook Elementary School shooting. Then Governor Rick Perry and the Chancellor of Texas Tech, which is in Lubbock, decided the state needed a plan to serve student behavioral needs in places that lacked counseling resources.
Student threat assessments, the legal reality on your child's campus this school year. Next on this special edition of State of Texas. Does a student have access to weapons? Do they abuse animals? And do they have a mental health diagnosis? Starting this school year, those are the types of questions a new state law requires Texas districts to ask if a student makes a threat. Education reporter Tom Miller traveled north to Weatherford, a district near Dallas, where many other districts are turning for guidance on these student safety assessments.
With wind whipping, rain pouring, and lightning strikes overhead, our arrival in Weatherford wasn't exactly a picnic, but the unpredictable elements helped us quickly learn something.
As you can see, there's a lot of bad weather coming in. There's a lot of lightning strikes.
This North Texas school district says it's prepared.
Lightning strikes kills more people than tornadoes do. So we're making sure that they are notified. It could impact their dismissal.
This is Weatherford ISD's Security Operations Center, where the weather is taken as seriously as school surveillance.
We could go live and see, is there a suspicious person? Is there someone making demands? What is the situation?
After a major bond passed in 2015, Safety and Security Executive Director Bruno Diaz says the district made significant security upgrades.
Every classroom is equipped with a call button.
However, the biggest changes aren't the physical ones. After 15 years working in law enforcement, Diaz is one of the first to bring the threat assessment screening model to a school campus in Texas.
We have a screening process with questions. Key questions have been identified by the Secret Service, by the FBI in assessing threats. We see how they answer those questions. We're looking at social factors, we're looking at other influences, peer pressure, different things that could be going on in their lives.
Specifically, any threat with the intention of causing bodily injury. Students are deemed either level 1, less severe, or level 2, a heightened risk for carrying out a threat. From last December through May, the district conducted threat assessments on 71 of its 8,000 students.
During that interview, do you dislike this teacher? Why? And if they start to provide reasons, and in that process you ask, do you really feel about hurting? Do you understand what hurting someone truly means?
Sometimes students do, which is when the red flags start going up and the screening process becomes more elaborate, requiring Diaz to fill out an 18-page assessment with questions like, how easily can this student access weapons? Is there a scheduled attack? What is their social status among peers? Do they have a mental health diagnosis? And what kind of family life do they have?
And based on the information we have, we develop a management strategy that may involve safety plans to make sure that everyone is safe, and also counseling plans. And we assess how well we're doing.
Diaz points to early data showing the threat assessment model is working. Of the 71 students flagged, 70% of the potential threats were de-escalated, 23% stayed as the lower level Tier 1 incidents, while 7% escalated to Tier 2.
If this all sounds like a novel experiment, it'll soon be a reality where you live too. Starting this year, every school district in the state is required to have a similar student threat assessment model.
Well, who will make sure that districts are doing everything they're supposed to by law?
This will be up to the Texas School Safety Center at Texas State University to audit districts and determine which are non-compliant.
All right, thanks, Tom.
If we don't address issues for children in the early years, by the time they get to middle school, it's going to be 10 times worse.
When California lawmakers did away with suspending preschoolers, they also implemented a consultant system that's helping teachers with challenging students. Could it work in Texas? We'll take an in-depth look coming up on this special edition of State of Texas.
For months, we've explored the country to highlight mental health solutions surrounding school safety. A new program in California caught the attention of our Erin Cargile, one that's adding mental health consultants to preschools there.
Josh, I traveled to the town of Concord just outside of San Francisco to see what lawmakers there have made possible.
Now, I understand they were appalled at the number of preschool students being expelled in the state, so they passed legislation to end that practice.
And that is what led to this new way of helping teachers dealing with challenging students.
Hey, good morning. Hi, how are you?
It's outdoor playtime at a state preschool east of San Francisco. 1 minute, everything is going smoothly. The next minute, things take a turn.
What happened?
Teaching assistant Luis Gonzalez is faced with another challenging situation.
Ms. Raya, I'm taking him inside.
He's bad boy.
It all plays out while Tina Sloan, a mental health consultant, is nearby,
Be careful, thank you.
watching another interaction between an associate teacher and students.
Oh, I see that big smile.
She's here at Cadango's Baldwin Park campus once a week, closely observing and sometimes adding input in the moment.
He really wants to see what he's doing.
Teacher Luis.
But the real work happens later in the day when she sits down with staff like Luis, one-on-one, to unpack what happened.
I didn't really want to confront the child that did the biting, so maybe guidance on how to deal with something like that.
Can you tell me a little bit more about the hesitancy that you had to approach the child that bit?
Luis, a former landscaper, has only been here 8 months, but even Roya Saltani, who's been teaching more than 15 years, is thankful for the extra support.
We're willing to learn. We happy for this program to come and show us how to meet the child's needs.
Recently, while Tina was here, a child refused to go inside after playing outside.
And he is screaming, you're not telling me, and screaming, and Miss Tina came close to me, very quietly came. I said, can you ask him what he's feeling?
The suggestion calmed him down.
He did so good, and he was happy. I was happy, the child was happy.
And it felt good.
It felt good.
You are so proud of what you just created.
Tina is a licensed therapist and now oversees Cadango's mental health consultants. The pilot program launched about a year ago.
I believe that in order to develop socially, emotionally well children, you have to have strong, confident adults that feel prepared and equipped to meet the different needs.
Let's work together.
She highlights their strengths and brainstorms ways they can better support students, which includes bringing parents into the conversation.
I wasn't sure what to expect.
Center Director Manuva Segi says prior to a consultant working with teachers, they had therapists who had worked directly with children. Tina says that's the big difference.
There is nothing that I can do once a week for 30 minutes with a child that's going to have the same impact that they can have because they're with those children every day.
Do you see it making a difference?
It's very new. It's about a year. But I have seen some changes in the relationship between teachers, stronger relationship. There is collaboration, bringing the team together.
How many books is he reading? A lot.
I have seen some changes in children, and some of the challenging behavior may not go right away, may not disappear, but depends on children's situations.
Cadango supported the mental health consultant bill that passed last year. It was written by a state lawmaker who was once a kindergarten teacher herself.
A lot of these issues, the mental health issues, I had no idea how to deal with them.
California state lawmaker Blanca Rubio says ending expulsion and adding consultants to a classroom rather than pulling the troubled children out got some parents fired up.
I'm thinking, it's all good, but you should have seen how many posts of people just really not happy with what we did. They said, well, oh yeah, you know, leave those kids in there to ruin my kids' education. I mean, it was really nasty comments on our social media because of this, and I thought, it's a no-brainer. You're helping children.
Her goal is to eventually expand it to K through 12 classrooms. She's still waiting for the data on how many children and teachers have been helped through the program and how many are showing signs of success. It's data we're waiting on too. Cadango's end goal is to have mental health consultants helping the teaching staff at all 50 of its preschools.
Give me 5.
It's not always the best paid work, not always the best appreciated work, and it's certainly hard work, but it's valuable. They are helping to lay the foundation.
So, Erin, who pays for these consultants?
It is an investment by the state of California each year. So any center that has a mental health consultant gets 5% more per child in state funding.
Do other states have anything like this?
So we found at least 20. They do it to some degree. About half of them are statewide programs. Texas is not one of those.
Erin, thank you.
Online now, explore our digital project, Save Our Students, Solutions for Wellness and Safety. See why we're taking a closer look at this important topic. Stories from across the nation, in-depth conversations with school workers on the front line, interactive analysis of what's happening with mental health and your children, plus community outreach and resources to get help for your family. It's all online now at SaveOurStudentsTX.com.
Thank you for joining us for this special edition of State of Texas. I'm Josh Hinkle. We'll be back next week to bring you an in-depth look at Texas politics.